UFOs, UAPs and all sorts, it's all been seen over Canada recently, and there might be a conspiracy going around that it might not just be the government who might be covering up these UFO stories, but also huge private corporations who have got, well, intent to keep the information for themselves for monetary gain. And it's absolutely insane, the things that I found out today. Now, before we get into the video, I've obviously been putting a couple of polls out recently on the channel, kind of finding out what you guys like, what you don't like about the videos that I've been making recently, and I have listened to the feedback. One thing that cropped up was better research, the other thing that cropped up was less dramatic titles and thumbnails, so I really appreciate everyone that's left honest feedback, and not been too brutal as well, so appreciate that as well. But in this video, obviously, I've tried to make the changes, so I want you guys to get down in the comments after this video. Let me know if it's improved, if it's any better, and what other things you'd like me to continue to improve on moving forwards. Now, to kind of progress into the video, so the things that we're going to be looking at today are on your screen right now. So this popped up on my Reddit, and it says, Canadian Aviation Incident Report, Orange UFO 50 times bigger than a plane seen in Canada. Now, this really piqued my attention for, well, obviously many reasons. Now, I'm going to skim through to the article here. Now, UFO sightings continue to reach mainstream news, but often it's just ones in the United States that get a lot of coverage. However, Canada hosts a publicly available reporting system for strange sightings and treasure trove for unknown craft that can be found in the records. From triangle-shaped UFOs to spheres with blue halos, the reports are intriguing to the point of the realm of unknown possibilities, and the apocalyptic media just uncovered even more reports, including a sighting of a UFO 50 times bigger than an airplane, and a sighting of UFOs shooting green lasers. Now, obviously, when you come to think of it, that all sounds very, you know, it sounds like complete chaos, doesn't it? You think, wow, UFOs 50 times bigger than, you know, a typical plane, bright orange. You think, this is unbelievably ridiculous, but it's not that far out there, if I'm perfectly honest. So the place where you can find these reports is actually on a site called CADORS, or CADORS, short for the Civil Aviation Daily Occurrence Reporting System. Now, I had a little look at these CADORS, okay, and the report that I found, well, first was the one that was on this website, which talks about back in January 2011, precisely on New Year's Day, the CADORS report number 20110 00003 describes a sighting in Bridgnorth, Ontario region of Canada. The impressively large UFO was orange in colour and hovered over a lake, and another sightings have been seen of the UFOs in the past too. So this happened at 12:20 AM, so literally on the stroke of New Year, back in January 2011, and this is the CADOR report. Now, this is what they look like right here. So this is all completely open source information, by the way. I don't know why this isn't like typical. Why not everyone's doing this? I truly don't know, but you know, it is what it is. But here we go. So the type of occurrence was an incident, okay, and then you've got the date of occurrence, the occurrence type. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, okay, but it happened in North America, Canada, NAV Canada, and it was reported by NAV Canada. Now, I want you to bear in mind NAV Canada, because they're going to be prominent in the rest of this video. So, the date that this was entered, obviously we've said that countless times, and now what's interesting here is they title it a narrative, okay? It's a narrative. It's not an account, it's not a witness explanation, it's a narrative, which kind of makes it sound a bit less believable. It's like a narrative to a story almost, but that's just my nitpick with it. Anyway, the following CIRVIS report was received by London FIC staff at 1720Z. A UFO was sighting was reported. The occurrence was on January 1st, 2011 at 12:20 AM EST, and the object was reported to be a circular size 50 times bigger than an aircraft and glowed a bright orange colour. The position seemed to be over Chemong Lake, near the town of Bridgnorth, north of Peterborough. The object was seen hovering quite quickly back and forth just above the tree line before making a fast departure and disappearing. So, it's weird, isn't it? Very weird. So I found a couple of videos which, well, first of all, it's an encounter in Canada which almost backs up this claim made by the Cador report. So we're going to look at that first. So we're going to take a little gander right here.
What the fuck? That is not a goddamn airplane. Why the fuck is it so fucking close? What the actual fuck is that? What the fuck? God fucking damn it. I'm shaking right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm fucking shaking. That shit did not look like a fucking airplane. But that was really fucking close to the ground, and I am not near an airport. Alright, the light is off.
This was obviously 12 minutes later. She turned the light off because the reflection was kind of glaring and it blocked the view of the craft or whatever it is. I've got some opinions on what it could be, but
I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm kind of freaking out at the moment. Let me see if I can try to... What the fuck is going on right now? What? This is the second one. That one sounded more like multiple planes, but the other one had a very deep humming. And there's no base nearby. I don't know what's going on.
Now, my theory on this is that it could potentially be a group of helicopters. The only thing putting me off that is when you look at the video, we'll take another little look again here. When you look at the video from this point, I will find it here. They're very, very close together. Now, typically, helicopters would stay apart because, you know, the propellers are spinning. There's a possibility of collision and things like this. And also, when they move to the side, it's almost as if you would see each of these lights individually kind of stay level, but then kind of tilt and then turn. Instead, it's like they're connected in a line, and then, like, it tilts like this. If that makes sense, it's like level. All right, you got the lights across the front, and then it tilts like this, which almost gives off the vibe of it being one craft in particular, but I don't know a specific craft that is kind of capable of that. But, you know, who am I to judge? Anyway, Canada has obviously got a very, very rich history of UFO, UAP sightings, because even back in February 11th of 2023, there was a Canadian, a UFO shot down over Canada.
Today, at the direction of the Prime Minister, aircraft assigned to NORAD successfully took down this high-altitude airborne object at approximately 3:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The object was flying at an altitude of approximately 40,000 feet, had unlawfully entered Canadian airspace. Recovery operations are now underway. We have no further details about the object at this time, other than it appears to be a small cylindrical object.
Now, that really piqued my interest, because obviously, you know, we've got this whole UAP, UFO incident. I mean, for something to be shot down, I know in last year in America there was quite a few instances of, you know, spy balloons being shot down and things like this. But again, I found another incident, over in Quebec, obviously, which is also in Canada. So that incident, is right here. So multiple flights reported strange lights in the sky over Quebec during one day in 2023. Early in February 12th, which is obviously a day after this thing was shot down, at least 3 different flights over Quebec reported seeing very strange lights in the sky high above flight paths. There were moving in a in a rapid and irregular way. It looks like more than one sort of circling. A crew member aboard the cargo flight from Chicago to Luxembourg told traffic controllers in Canada, according to the audio obtained by ctvnews.ca. It's a bit weird. CTA News has identified at least 17 reports like these from 2023 in an online aviation incident database. Now, that does, again, refer back to back to Cador, Cador. Now, again, it's so strange because obviously whenever we get these kind of UFO reports, 9 times out of 10 they've come out of the USA, but these ones they're coming out of Canada, and there is such a rich history of UFO reports, even going as far as having dozens of UFO reports made by commercial airline pilots, including a floating donut and a bizarre hovering strobe light and a speedy shiny metal object. Now, bear in mind, again, sightings are kept in the Cador's database maintained by Transport Canada. The database is also home of almost 300,000 incidents. Now, those aren't all UFO reports, of course. Those are just your run-of-the-mill reports, I should imagine. But to have 300,000 reports is absolutely mind-boggling. And one potential UFO sighting back in 2016 resulted in a plane rapidly descending to avoid the object, resulting in injury of 2 flight attendants. Many of the incidents, however, have little detail and scant explanation. So we're going to take a look at some more of these Cador reports that I found. Okay, so I've got 4 more reports to kind of dive, because this took me down one hell of a rabbit hole. I was reading these reports I read a fair whack of them, just to see what instances revolved around UFOs. Most of them were just your typical airline issues, you know, running into kind of close collisions or whatever, potential close collisions and all the rest of it. But these were more to do with unidentified flying objects. Does that necessarily mean they're extraterrestrial? No. But what it does mean is there's something in our skies that not even these people knew what they were. So this incident happened on the 31st of December 2010. And this was reported again by NAV Canada. Now, this one goes on to state, Kamloops FIC filed a CIVRVIS report following a receipt of a phone call at 0450Z from an individual in Burnaby who reported observing 15 plus UFOs. The report indicated the UFOs were approximately the size of a football field, and they were shooting green laser beams and dropping green balls of light. Objects were reported to being 20 feet above the high rise of at 0543Z. A second call from the same person was received. He now indicated, I can't read today, quote, there were about 50 UFOs, some landing at Burnaby Mountain and some at Metrotown, and they were reported as zooming around quickly but not shooting anymore, and they appeared to be getting really aggressive. There's one report. The next one, they're all just as juicy as each other, by the way. Like these are some amazing like little nuggets of information. So if you want to check them out, I'll leave a link down below to the Cador website. You have to really search through the filing cabinet, so to speak. But so this incident happened in the city of Brantford on the 3rd of July 2011. So in the province of Ontario, again reported by NAV Canada. NAV Canada staff at Hamilton Tower reported that they had received a report of a possible UFO sighting from the off-duty controller living in Brantford. The controller reported observing 4 objects of no distinguishable shape with a round orange lights which flew over Brantford individually and then joined together and flew off. There was no noise associated with the objects. Estimated altitude 3,000 feet. Nothing was observed on radar. Again, an incredible report there because, again, what you typically expect is to have this Cador report. Like, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, you'd expect to see this kind of thing and there be substance to it, you know? And, like, there be, like, it wouldn't be logged if it wasn't official, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Now, the next report we've got is from the 12th of April 2012 in the Quebec region. Again, reported by NAV Canada. I'm pointing out Nav Canada a lot because it's relevant information to what we're going to be talking about in just a moment, because my deep dive and rabbit hole research really took me down some strange places. But anyway, this one, oops, clicked the wrong one. A Lac Beauport resident reported the presence of an unidentified flying object which was described as yellow, circular and domed. The UFO was reportedly seen between I think this is the time, so like midnight and 1:20. Duplicate records, Cador's 2012 Q, and that's the reference number for the other one, and this one were deleted. So those were some duplicate reports, and it's just in the reports saying it's been deleted. Now the final one we're going to take a look at is, this has got 2 occurrence summaries, which is interesting, because it's the only, well, not the only one, but it's the only UFO one that I found that had 2 occurrences. So this one was British Columbia, and this was reported by an airport, Nav Canada, and it was on the 3rd of September 2017. Anyway, moving forward, it says Kamloops Flight Information Center received an unidentified flying object report from a house 2 nm nautical miles southeast of Prince Rupert. A concerned citizen reported a black object the size and shape of a rugby ball moved quickly west to east above their house, less than 100 feet above the ground. Area Control Center shift manager was advised. This is an update. An update to the report. During daylight hours and as a ground visual, a black volleyball-sized oblong object, so again that would fit that rugby ball kind of shape, was seen East Digby Island. The object was moving west to east and moving fast enough to make sound. The object was moving straight with no manoeuvres. What could it be? I mean, some people would probably say that that's nothing but a military report. But the whole thing, these Cador instances and events became so... There were so many of them that there was actually a book literally logging all of these reports from the year 2020. So if I show you my screen right now, the Canadian Current Events Surveys, CADOR's events involving UFOs and UAPs in Canada reporting year 2020. There is a literal book on Amazon about these strange occurrences being reported. So the Cador events involving UFOs and UAPs in Canada by Ryan Stacey. So Transport Canada collects aviation occurrence information through civil aviation daily occurrence and systems, CADORs. And the purpose of the system is to provide initial information on events involving any Canadian registered aircraft and events of Canadian airports and Canadian sovereign airspace or international airspace for which Canada has accepted responsibility. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is an official source of aviation incident and accident and incident data in Canada. The annual report is compiled of information pulled from the reporting system to generate trends among drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, and possible unidentified flying objects. It's so popular that there are literal books. There was even one from 2021. I think it's a yearly annual. They just pump these out every single year, and there is every time there's just new information being pumped out. So if you're interested in all of the reports kind of compiled together for you from a specific year, you can go and check it out. Maybe if you're in Canada and you've experienced something, you might find that report if you look for the specific date and time that you experienced it. You might even find it. So this leads me on to the next part of my rabbit hole research, which was about a private company that is literally got hold of UFO information and has no intention of releasing it whatsoever. Now, when we typically hear about something like this, you would think of the government. The government has got this information. They never typically have any interest in sharing that information. But that's where private sectors, I mean, yes, they are funded by the government. So, the government is going to have a say in some decisions that are made. But this article right here kind of calls them out a little bit. So, It's about NAV Canada, which of course filed all of these reports. Now, NAV Canada is sitting on 25 years of UFO evidence from pilots and the military. That is a lot of information. A private company holds some of Canada's most compelling UFO data and has no interest in sharing it. From air traffic control towers to radar installations, NAV Canada directs thousands of flights per day. That makes the company the first line of contact when professional pilots spot UFOs in Canadian airspace. Like on the morning of October 21st, 2005, when NAV Canada staff received reports of 4 aircraft flight crews of a shiny silver object over Toronto. NAV Canada is also in direct communication with Canada's military, quickly informing them of aviators' sightings, like on the night of April 8, 2019, when it altered the Air Force after a WestJet flight approaching Virginia reported a white flashing light moving above 60,000 feet, which is well below most satellites and beyond the reach of any Canadian fighter jet. It just goes to show this kind of stuff is so prominent over in Canada. Like, it's happening all the time, and there is a specific place where it's logged, but it's filtered through. Like, during my research, I found that this information obviously goes through NAV Canada, but it's filtered through NAV Canada to get to Cador. So they only post what they want to be posted to Cador, which is crazy. Because they literally hold the cards when it comes to this kind of information. If they don't want it shared, they won't share it. Anyway, NAV Canada's personnel have reported UFOs too, such as on early December 15th, 2009, when tower staff in Fort McMurray, Alberta, observed an object northwest of an airport that appeared too fast to be any commercial aircraft and was one solid bright light. The witness even delayed an Air Canada Jazz flight until the object was well east of the aircraft's departure path, where it disappeared into the sunrise. Now, this is a huge article which kind of calls out, not calls out, but basically talks about some of the instances that NAV Canada does actually have. And there, if you look on their about page, they've got their finger in all the pies. They've got their finger in the military. That sounds really bad. They've got their finger in the military's pie, the government's pie, airports pies. They've got it in airliner pies. Like, everything flows. All this information comes in, flows through NAV Canada, and it either stops or gets very, very loosely, subliminally put out through these Cador reports. And it just goes to show that they literally hold the monopoly on this. And like I said before, it comes down to the whether they want to release this information. So they literally withhold information from us unless it's of, no security risk, I suppose. But what do you guys make of this? It is absolutely crazy. I know it's like there's not a lot of clips in this one, but I just went down this rabbit hole and I wanted to talk about it because it's really interesting. But like I say, I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Get down in the comments. What do you think that companies like this should have this much power? Do you think companies like this are kind of one of the main reasons as to why we don't get this kind of disclosure? I mean, clearly they are, because if they weren't about, this information would be free knowledge almost. But I don't know. I guess it swings one of two ways. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Get down in the comments below. Let me know everything that you want to talk about. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new and tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. Let me know in the comments, how did I do for this video? Was it more up to par, or do you think a bit more work needs to be done? Be honest, I can take it, I think. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.